Alright guys, so I'm sitting here with Rachna. Rachna, first of all, welcome to my channel.
Thank you.
Is studying right now in Greifswald, which is up north of Germany. Before I go ahead and talk about what is happening today, Rachna, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, like where you come from, what bachelor's have you done, what master's have you done, what PhD are you doing, and since when are you here in Germany?
I am from Chandrapur, which is in Maharashtra state. There I did my bachelor's in biotechnology from Nagpur University, and from then I came to Pune to do my master's in biochemistry. I studied there for 2 years in the university in Department of Chemistry, and then I did my internship for almost 9 months in National Chemical Laboratories in Pune. And then I slowly developed my interest in research, looking out at my colleagues who were pursuing their PhD in the same institute. And then I thought that, I could also do a PhD there. And the research that I was doing there was also on tuberculosis. So I started applying everywhere possible according to my grades and the procedure of the universities. And then I came across Friedrich Loeffler Institute, which is in Greifswald, but then I was fascinated that it's on an island, so it will be fun working there. And so I applied and I got a call for the interview. I gave Skype call, and then she asked me, do you want to come? Maybe she thought that I would say yes, and I did. This is the way I came to Germany.
Okay, and it's been almost a year now.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot for the introduction. We're going to talk specifics of application, where did you apply, this and that. Just a follow-up question on your introduction part. Are you comfortable sharing your grades from bachelor's and master's?
Yeah, if I remember.
Okay.
In my bachelor's, I got around 75% in my final year, and also in my master's I got 74 point something.
75 in bachelor's, 75 in master's. Okay, so once you completed your master's, you said you were doing internship for 9 months. This was a topic related to what you're doing right now.
Yes, because of that I could apply for this position.
All right. And do you think like the topic what you're doing right now, can you share that with the audience?
Yeah, sure. I'm basically dealing with tuberculosis as a disease, which is killing a lot of people, and we are trying to compare how different species, because human tuberculosis is very popular, but also bovine tuberculosis, that means the tuberculosis in cattle. So it's the institute where I belong is dealing with animal research. So the whole institute basically deals with different kinds of research on animals, like avian influenza from chicken, then swine fever, and a lot of different diseases. So one of them is tuberculosis from Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So we are trying to compare how tuberculosis differs from species to species, and trying to solve the problem of tuberculosis in humans.
All you nerds got what she was talking about. But anyway, I think a lot of people have tuned into this video to know your journey, like how did you really apply? Because I know like you must be knowing when you were applying, you so badly wanted to come and do things, right? If you have to put all your steps, whatever you have taken so far, into proper order, right? Let's say starting from collection of documents first. What is your advice there? What documents should I start from if someone is watching now?
First of all, you should have all the mark sheets starting from your 10th grade. So 10, 12, your bachelor's degree along with your mark sheets, your master's degree along with your mark sheet. And if the criteria of the university is like you need transcripts as well, because some universities have different languages and they want your and are in, like in India it's like we get degree in different language.
That's true.
Also, so they need a transcript which is in English. So if the criteria is that you have to have a transcript, then you have to apply for that in your respective university. And that's all I had. And even if the criteria is like you have to have language exam, IELTS or GRE or TOEFL, then you have to give that.
Did you give
I
that?
personally gave IELTS exam.
What about letter of motivation and all that, letter of recommendation?
Yeah, letter of motivation as well, and 3 recommendation letters from your professors.
So they were all from masters in your case?
Yeah, in my case.
So 3 letter of recommendation from master?
My master's professors and one from my professor where I was working as an intern.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So all the transcript from 10th till masters, and then letter of recommendation. In your case, you had 3 of them. Letter of motivation.
Letter as well.
Can you talk just 30 seconds on letter of motivation?
In your motivation, you should be speaking about how you started your journey as a bachelor student as well,
Right.
from where your interest developed in whichever
Yeah.
field you are trying to pursue. And then you should be very basic and you should be honest while you write something,
So true, yeah.
because what I wrote in my motivation letter is like, I work on bacteria, and it's a huge thing to pursue this research. And I started, like, I had kiddish thoughts that if a bacteria can infect a human, which we even cannot see, how does it do that? This was what I wrote, and that was my thought of expressing my interest in research. It was really a kiddish thought that how can a bacteria infect a human, even if you cannot see it? This is what I actually wrote in my motivation letter.
Well, it worked out. Seems like, of course, you're here. That's why. Right. Next question I want to ask you is, sure. So I collected all these things. What you just said. What do I do after that?
You have to search according to your research interest, different universities, their criteria, the minimum percentage of marks that they need, and then start applying.
Where? Do you know the platforms where you would like to suggest?
You first have to jot down a list of universities that have a good rank, and I randomly applied because my interest was on a broad range. I could work on cancer, I could work on tuberculosis, I could work on bacterial infections. So I applied everywhere they gave me opportunity.
Right. Also, a lot of people have this question of like, hey, is it a paid PhD, not paid PhD?
Yeah.
In your case, what is it?
In my case, it's a contract for 3 years, and I'm an official employee of the institute. But I am also a PhD student there because I'm registered at the University of Greifswald.
Right.
And the institute is paying me for doing a PhD.
Right.
And there are other people who are also PhD students there, but they have acquired scholarships from various other, like DART and so on.
And so the money what they're paying you, is it good enough for you to survive in this country?
I would say in the city where I stay, it's more than enough. But in city like Berlin, probably you need double of that.
Really? Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
If you want to live a basic life, then this would be sufficient for you. But if you are in a habit of having a luxurious life, then I would say you should be having a minimum of 2,000 to 2,500 euros.
Being an incumbent student of PhD, what advice you would like to pass it on to fellow PhD students who wish to do PhD?
If I talk about myself, I would say nobody is gonna give you motivation, because PhD itself is very intense, and starting a PhD also takes guts, because not everyone does it, because it takes a lot of effort, and you should be self-motivated if you want to do a PhD.
That's so true.
Because there are times that you get frustrated, many times. So PhD means 90% trial and 10% results.
I love that. Okay.
It's always trial and error, and you get in the end 10% result.
Right. Rachna, one question. If you have to go back and correct one thing, which when you look back now, what would that be?
My journey has been, I would say, not so easy, but I made it easy through my hard work that I did. I would not like to change anything.
When you say it wasn't that easy, can you give me one example where you felt like it wasn't easy? At what stage you felt that?
Of choosing maybe a different city, because the city in which I stay is a very small city, and there's nothing more to explore after you're done visiting the city in almost 2 months or so. then you don't have anything to do there. So one thing that I would like to change, if I could, which I can't, I know it, that I would like to shift to Berlin if possible and try to shift that institute there in Berlin. But I know it's not possible.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of coming up with a topic for PhD, right? I mean, imagine I'm sitting in my bedroom and trying to approach universities or professors abroad. How do I come up with a topic which is very enticing and interesting for professors here?
I mean, you should have a work plan of your own that you could tell other people, and it should be foolproof, and it should not be that other people have already worked on it. It should be something novelty and not what other people have already done.
I feel strongly PhD is more like it's something which you have to keep trying and you end up somewhere then.
I already have had done almost 500 to 600 applications.
What the hell?
People do. I have heard of people.
But I've seen more.
Yes.
Right?
I have heard of people applying 3,000 times and getting one reply. But I was lucky enough that I got in 300 to 400 applications, I got one.
Right. And you have to make sure that when you're doing this 100 applications also, they are perfectly done.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's not like if you jot down one email, you should not copy and paste every time to the other professors whom you send your email. It should be you should go into their research, you should try to understand what they are working on, and then you should draft an email so that they know that you have already you have interest in that and you have already checked what work they do.
Right. I mean, if you want more, you got to work hard more, right? I mean, it's simple logic. It may sound tedious, it may sound frustrating, it may consume a lot of your energy, but I think it's worth it.
It's worth it, yes.
Look at her sitting here in Germany. But anyway, Rachna, thanks a lot for coming on my channel. I might visit you in Greifswald probably for half a day.